This is Parker
And Leo,
from Wings of Steel.
and you're watching Loud TV.
Yes, actually. So I mean, this is not like they're not like the most current band because they started back in the '70s. But I think a band that's still out there today and totally kicking ass is Saxon, actually.
Yeah.
And I mean, I love their classic stuff. But I actually, some of their newer stuff, I'm just like, fuck, this is I mean, it's almost like it's different, but I'm like, sometimes I like this better, you know, like, so Saxon is really great. Accept is another band like that.
Still kick ass for sure. I mean, Jorn is another band.
Jorn,
It's like a smaller scale, but I was kind of raised on that, you know. I'm not that old, and that's another band that's still putting out like, great music.
Amazing voices too.
Oh, absolutely.
The new Bruce Dickinson record
Bruce
too.
Dickinson.
I mean, you know, he's Iron Maiden, but I love his solo stuff. Is awesome. His new record's really great too. So
the album as a whole, that's one part. The adrenaline aspect is one part. But when you've listened to the album, you'll hear that it's not just fast and heavy. It also slows down. It goes epic. It takes a lot of different journeys, you know. And that's another core aspect of our sound that has kind of remained the same. But then we've also evolved as musicians, you know. We were continuously listening to a lot of stuff, old and new. And of course it affects you. And I feel like we together as a unit, as when we write as songwriters, it's also taken another step forward. So I think these are all natural things that happen. So I feel like if you're a Wings of Steel fan and you listen to this, you'll hear that it's the same sound, it's the same kind of way of going about it, but it's amped up.
I think the other detail I'll add to that too is just having the experience. I mean, this is our third full studio release. I guess EP Gates of Twilight, you know, this. And having the experience of producing these and like done it before, like it gives us a lot more insight into the process, and like we're more detailed and we can get more refined with things, and I think that's also helped us take things to yet another level.
Yeah, I mean, I think the lyrics for this album, for the most part, kind of covers the space that the world is in currently. A lot with travesty that humanity seems to be going through in lots of corners of the world, but also how the best way forward is together, you know. And in our sense, we like to make that through the music. And so in a song like We Rise, for example, it's all about unity and peace through strength, and we get that together, you know. So those are kind of the topics that it mainly touches upon. But of course, there's still many universal reflections and other things. I think when people listen to this, they can interpret it in many different ways, and ultimately, whatever way that you choose to interpret it as is what it's about. That's the standpoint it's written from.
We got extraordinarily lucky.
Yeah, and this is kind of like, at the same time, like you can call it luck, but you can also call it hard work pays off, you know. At the end of the day, the guys in Sabaton, you know, they are traditional kind of heavy metal fans. They like what we do, and we were offered the slot because of that.
So they reached out to you guys.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Had you run into them at any point prior to that?
No.
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 Oh, wow.
So I mean, we of course we knew about the band, and I mean, personally, you know, I like history a lot, and so I had seen they have a channel on YouTube where they yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So I've seen all those, and you know, so I already had an interest in the band, but yeah, so it was a really great surprise for us, and yeah, we're super honored to do it. And also too, I mean, you know, we haven't in the U.S., even though it's our home country, because of logistical situations and crossing borders and everything, it's been hard for us to play a lot of shows out there. So the fact that we finally get to play in the U.S. and play in the U.S. on like an arena level tour is the coolest thing in the world, man. So Yeah.
Yeah,
I get my hairs on my arms are standing up when I talk about it.
That story. I mean, that's what I'm hoping to hear here. Is like, was it an email? Was it a phone call? What happened?
No, I mean, they just email. They sent us an email, and I'm like, oh my god, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It took you half a second to say.
Yeah.
Cold sweating for 2 days.
Yes, you know.
No, I mean, we are so thankful for those guys because it's stuff like this that heavy metal needs. You know, you need established players in the game to notice young talent and stick their neck out for you. And, you know, that's what we hope to do in the future too, if we're ever lucky enough to be in those shoes. And that's exactly what you need. So, I mean, big freaking props to Sabaton for doing that, man. It's insane.
Well, there's a whole myriad of things that contribute to how much your music gets seen on like a business standpoint. But I think fundamentally, like, if the music has to resonate with people, and the music has to be up to a certain standard, because that's fundamentally what you're putting in front of people. Like, it's pretty much anybody can go out there, and if you learn a thing or two about social media or advertising or whatever, like, you can put your stuff in front of a large audience of people. The thing that's going to make a difference is whether or not they actually respond with it and they spread it for you. Because with like marketing and business and everything, those are things to like get the ball rolling, but the thing that really spreads your music is people talking. And that's been the case for us for sure, by and large. It's just you know, so anyway, with that in mind, for Leo and I, with our band, the quality of the music has always been the #1 priority, and I think that's how we've gotten here, because that's pretty much carried us through all this other stuff. If I look at all the business and marketing stuff that we've done, it would have done absolutely nothing if the music wasn't what it was. So fundamentally, there's that. But yeah, I mean, on a marketing and a promotion thing, I mean, we built our band over the internet, our audience at least. You know, we really, thanks to the use of social media and YouTube and streaming platforms, we were able to initially put our music out there and get it in front of people, and people really responded to it very well. But what that did is that facilitated us to start sending out CDs and physical products. And it's really the fans that bought the CDs that go and they listen to the album, they get really into it, and then they go and they tell their other friends that are also the same way. That, like, those fans and that thing has created like a totally substantial and really big core of our audience. And then
A grassroots kind of
exactly. So it's totally grassroots, but it just continues to spread, you know. And yeah, I mean, I'll say too, all we can really do is continue to do what we can do to put it in front of as many people as possible.
Yeah, and what I'll mention too is, I mean, with how many hours we've poured into this, there's no time for a side job or anything like that. So, you know, we don't have an income other than what we've been able to build from the band, which goes directly into the band, which continues to invest on itself. So you kind of have to be set up in a situation where you can make that happen, and it requires no small amount of sacrifices. I think a lot of bands, they'll do that for some time, but then the reality will start to kick in, and it's really, really tricky. Especially like if you're in a situation where maybe you have a kid or whatever
The kid, or you have to pay bills or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
for us, I mean, we just kind of started it. We didn't really know much about anything. We had basic understanding of how to record music, and we had a vision, you know, and then we had Logic Pro. So it was just me, Parker, and the computer.
You need to invest enough money into it to at least get a recording, put together a product, you know, that's good.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
You can do that pretty cheap.
Yeah, I mean, especially nowadays with the recording technology, and like, you know, this isn't back in the day where you need to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to make. Like, no, you can do it very, very cheaply, very efficiently, and especially some other styles of music too, even cheaper than, you know, but yeah, so that you just need enough to create what you need to do and create it as good as possible, and then and then the means of putting it in front of people is the next step.
Yeah.
So,
And just to finish what I was saying too, if you, when you're able to pour those hours into it and only do that, momentum builds momentum. So since we started 2022, we put out a EP. 2023, we put out a new album. Backed it up with a tour, live album same year. Following up with a tour now, singles, new album coming out. You got to keep it going.
the momentum breeds momentum. We've managed to scale up. So when you scale up, there's more things to do. There's more work. So typically, like nowadays, Leo does a lot of the social media stuff. I do a lot of like the business and contracting and stuff like that. So we've kind of just gravitated into the roles that we naturally do a little bit better. But I mean, it's still like if I need to do something social media, if he needs to do something in business, like we can still work it out. But that's kind of how we've had to do it now, just because there's a lot of stuff to do. So there's a lot of work involved in putting out and marketing the music. That's a huge task, and it's also a critical task because the music has to be created good, but then once the music is there, it needs to be properly put out in front of people, and you need to make sure that people hear about it. Because the metaphor is that you can have the greatest song in the world. If you go out into the forest and you play it for and there's nobody there to hear it, nobody's going to know about it. And I'm sure many of you guys, especially if you're a really diehard fan of a certain scene or whatever, like you can list dozens of bands that are just really great, super talented musicians, but nobody ever heard about them. And that basically just came down to the marketing side of things. So for us, the most important thing is that the label is using is pushing our music with their resources to the best of their ability, from that standpoint. So as far as like incentives align, that's what we want. But it also, there's the roles within a label. What can a label do that needs to be done when you're releasing an album, per se? So for us, like a big thing, there's obviously doing the publicity and coordinating interviews and coordinating promotion, but there's also physically distributing and manufacturing the CDs and vinyls and stuff like that. So there's a lot of different roles that can be filled, and is incentives are aligned. Like if they're able to do that for us, and then they'll be happy with it, they'll make money they need to make off of it, and then if we'll make money that we need to make off of it, then it's all cool.